Bird game Q&A. You asked, we answer. We received a lot of questions from our Discord community, and some of them were very interesting. Anyways, today me and Thomas will try our best to answer all of your submissions. What is bird game? How will the mechanics work?
So the main mechanics that we're kind of looking at is it's going to be like bird on bird combat. So we're looking at, it'll be a team versus team fight where you're going for an objective, which will be to capture eggs in some way. And it's just basic ability-based combat between you and your opponents and team building skills.
That sounds really cool. So would that be a hero shooter type of game, or would it be something different?
Well, we're definitely taking inspiration from hero shooters, although it's not a shooter to say. You're not shooting any guns. You're more ability-based combat, like melee combat between the birds, but it definitely is being inspired by hero shooters, so it'll be treated like a hero shooter.
So since it's kind of ish like a hero shooter, would you say that there would be different abilities for different birds, maybe different classes? How would that work?
Yeah, so each bird will have its own unique ability set, a unique move set to give it a different play style. So when you're maining one bird as opposed to maining a different, it'll be totally a different experience for you. And we're going to distinguish them into classes. So there'll be tank, support, and DPS, and just the normal that you have in a hero shooter.
So normally these hero shooters are playable characters such as humans and kind of monsters. Why are we making a hero shooter about birds specifically?
Well, I think the general of it is it doesn't exist yet. No one's made a hero shooter about birds. Birds are pretty cool, and it kind of is a fun, different way to take the approach. As well as in most hero shooters or FPS games, if you play Valorant, Fortnite, whatever, you're kind of stuck into the two dimensions because you're walking on a floor. But when you play as a bird, you kind of unlock that third dimension of movement to be able to fly vertically as opposed to just forward, backwards, left and right. And then there's obviously the meme that we had end of last year, which really helped kind of build the community and the people wanting to play this game, whether they came from other games or they're just general bird enthusiasts. It's kind of the target of it. So birds are cool. I think it makes it an interesting game and something that hasn't been done before.
All right, now that we locked that in, the next big question was, how many birds are going to be in the game?
So for our beta release that we're planning, we're aiming for about 3 to 4 birds, just to keep it kind of small and kind of get you introduced into the game. We don't want to bombard the players with too many playable characters at the beginning. As we push updates, we'll send out new birds, so maybe we could get a new one every few months, maybe every month. Whatever we decide for the update system, new birds will come out, new playable characters, and like I said, they'll each be unique and bring something new to the game that hasn't been seen before. So although for the beta, we're keeping it kind of low scaled and small, as we go for our full release, we're going to have more birds than 3 or 4. Obviously, it's going to be a fully fleshed out product that you guys can all enjoy and play with your friends. Probably looking at about 9, 10, 11 birds, somewhere around there for the full release, and then it'll increase as we move on.
So that sounds like a big roster of birds. How about the biggest bird? Who's the biggest bird in the game?
I think at the moment, the biggest bird that we're looking for is the shoebill. The crowd favorite. Everyone loves the shoebill. But that is just right now. It could be something bigger coming later.
The birds that are going to be in the game, are they going to be real life birds, or is there going to be like any fictional birds, for example, like the phoenix?
So at the moment, we're targeting real life birds because it's a lot more interesting to build off of how they interact in nature, like their attributes in real life. But a lot of the community has been interested in skins. So we may look into a skin line that features maybe prehistoric birds or some sci-fi birds, something like that. And obviously, eventually, we could bring in something that isn't a real bird, but a fan favorite.
So one of our members from our community has made a fan-made bird called Globus. Will Globus be in the game?
Admittedly, yes, Globus is in the game. He is in the range. Hidden away though, so you have to find him. I'm not going to tell you where.
Alright, so we've got the birds sorted. Obviously, they need somewhere to be, they need somewhere to fight. So how about maps? Will there be different maps? And how many are we planning on adding?
I'm not going to go too deep into exactly what the maps are going to be, because that's a story for you guys to figure out as you play through the game. But there will be multiple maps. We're targeting between 3 and 5 for our release, depending on what we can achieve in the time that we've set out. And then as we move forward, like with the birds, we will be adding more maps that build on the storyline and are interesting and something unique to play in.
These different maps, will there be like any environmental effects that maybe some birds are stronger than others on different maps, or any extra boosts or anything like that on the maps?
So one of the big things that we've been sticking with during the development of this game is we don't want to force the players into anything. So when it comes to metas and being a certain bird being better on a certain map than another, we don't want to force that to our players and tell them that, hey, this bird is better on this map because of X, Y, Z. We want that to rather be something that the players discover and figure out themselves, creating their own meta. So for the maps, there's not going to be any birds that are specifically good or specifically bad on certain maps, although some of them may be more viable on the map. If they're a faster, more agile bird on a tighter corner map, they could be more useful, but there's not going to be any specific that this bird has extra abilities because of the map. But on the maps, we are going to have some environmental effects to help the flow of the game. This could be like wind turbines and little pockets of air that will push you out of the way. There'll be some areas that you can't enter, or when you enter, you get attacked by an NPC, something like that, just to help control the game and direct you towards your opponents and into the combat.
So would you say that there's an art style for this game, or any direction we're kind of leaning in towards?
So we do have an art style and an idea of where we're taking this, but nothing has been released or confirmed yet, to keep it a bit more interesting for when we do our full games release or our beta release coming soon. However, if you're a member of our Discord community, you'll be able to see some leaks of the art style, and you can get some exclusive insight as to what we're currently working on and kind of what the game's looking like at the moment.
And now time for the question that everyone wants to know. Will there be skins in this game?
Yes, there will be skins in this game, and they'll be released in skin packs. So there'll be themed skins that come out periodically, and potentially with new birds or with new releases. Along with that, we will have a early bird skin, something that you can be rewarded with by participating in our demo, which you can get through the Discord.
So with these different skins, will that alter the abilities and make them different, or will it purely be cosmetical?
At the moment, they're going to be purely cosmetic because we want the balancing of the game to be handled by the players. Again, we don't want to force a player into playing in a certain style because it's known to be the meta, right? Rather, we want the players to figure out the metas and create the metas themselves. So the skins will be purely cosmetic, but there is the option for them to actually alter your gameplay later down the line, as long as it doesn't induce any pay to win or anything. We're very against that, and we're trying to avoid that.
So without naming any names, there's been a couple discussions in the Discord about the mods. Do they actually do anything?
At the moment, I don't think so. They're not very useful mods. No, our mods help keep our community managed, and they keep everything active, and they maintain what information gets shared and what doesn't. So we are contemplating at some point giving them something back, maybe something in the game, or potentially some control to help moderate the game, the chat system, review cheaters, stuff like that.
How will the game be played? Will there be different game modes? Will there be a ranked game mode? Will there be a global leaderboard or any tournaments of such?
So at the moment, we're targeting 3 game modes. For the beta, only 2, but for our full release, we're targeting 3 game modes. Number 1 is just the standard team versus team. This will be the free to play. This will be everyone kind of just to get used to the game, and this is the unranked, the general. The second game mode is the same thing, but with a ranked system where you can climb the leaderboards and actually become the best player, and you can improve, because what's a hero shooter without its ranked? And then the third game mode is the simple warm-up, either 1v1 or team deathmatch or just general deathmatch, where you can kind of just get a feel for the game and hone in your skills and improve your mechanics throughout the game.
So how about Steam decks and controller supports? Will that be in the game?
At the moment, we're targeting our general release to be on Windows for PC, and that'll be through Steam. And we are going to include controller support for anyone who's coming from console and wanting to play the game. And then at a later stage, we are looking at expanding to potentially consoles, including the Steam Deck. One thing just to keep in mind is developing for these isn't easy, and it does require a lot of changes to be made to the game. So depending on the demand for it and how many players we have that are using macOS, Steam Decks, Linux, Xbox, PlayStation, whatever, that'll depend on whether we actually expand to those platforms or not.
Before anything of this matters, people have to get their hands on the game. So when can the community expect to be able to play this game, full release? And I guess, is there a demo version coming out earlier?
So our playtest, or our beta version, is hopefully going to be releasing within the next few weeks. The main thing that we are trying to focus on is getting a fully polished or mostly polished game that is actually enjoyable. We don't want to be the people who rush through a game in a couple of months and then just push it out and it ends up disrupting the players or losing people's interest in the game, because at the end of the day, people have become passionate about this game and they're very interested in it, and playing a bad demo kind of puts a bad taste in your mouth and could discern you from the game. So we are getting our beta out, and it will be within the next few weeks, if all goes well. As for the full release, we haven't put much thought to that yet. We're kind of focusing on the demo at the moment, getting just our baselines and figuring out how the game's actually going to play and perform, and then we can expand into that later.
So how about our worldwide players? Do you need to be able to speak English to play Bird Game, or will there be some type of translation support for players who are non-native to English?
So our base game is going to be in English, as we are English developers, and that's the majority of our audience. However, we are aware of our international community, specifically the Italian community, as well as some others that have appeared on the Discord. So we are going to be doing some support for their languages, and we're going to do some translations of the UI and the general in-game sound effects to try and allow for the most people to play the game.
How about future plans? Do we have any future plans for WoodFinch Studios? Maybe more games in the future?
Definitely. You see, we've been lucky enough to have a really skilled and passionate team of developers and artists and engineers and everything working on this game. So we know that we have something here and could make some amazing games in the future. So if this game does not succeed, although we do have every intention to make it succeed, we will continue developing games and expand to new horizons. Although with our name being WoodFinch, we may stick with the bird theme, but that's all to come in the future.
So why hasn't everyone joined the Discord yet?
So our Discord is where you can get information first about the game, because we're the most active there and it's the easiest to just quickly send something out. I'm not sure why everyone hasn't joined the Discord. You definitely should, with the link in the description, as well as subscribe to our channel, because more devlogs like this and more Q&A sessions and general updates about the game are going to be posted here more frequently in the next few weeks, leading up to our beta and continuing after that into our full games release.
If you want to be a part of this project, then you should join our Discord community, where you'll be able to submit suggestions. Also, if you want to play this game, go ahead and wishlist us on Steam.